It's been a hellish 3.5 years. I haven't been able to work in over 3 years.
I call it my head exploded. It just exploded.
I didn't know if I was going to make it.
They went from active professional people to barely being able to live on their own.
Now my life is just a living hell.
Their common link, terrible reactions to prescription drugs.
I was simply given a legal pill called Levaquin, and now it's ruined my life.
Former pharmaceutical sales rep John Frady took the drug Levaquin for an infection. He went from charging the basketball court to barely being able to walk.
I've now been diagnosed with suffering from Levaquin-induced brain damage, damage to my nerves, and damage to my tendons.
Less than a year ago, the FDA mandated the makers of the drug put a black box warning on the prescription for tendinitis and tendon rupture. It was too late for John.
We live here in America, and we should be afforded the right to know that a drug can cause irreversible damage.
Americans are 10 times more likely to be hospitalized from an adverse drug reaction than from a car crash. Drug reactions are the fourth leading cause of death in the country.
The FDA and the industry are doing a terrible job assuring the public that what they are getting after a doctor writes a prescription for them is really adequately safe.
The FDA refused to talk to us for this story. Dr. Sidney Wolf sits on an FDA committee that measures the safety and risks of prescription drugs.
I think tightening up the drug review process, which doesn't necessarily mean making it longer, it just means making it more thorough and changing the culture in the FDA so people aren't so much in awe of the drug industry and instead are in awe of the public health.
Dr. Wolf says user fees are a huge problem with the drug approval process. That's money drug companies pay the FDA to get their products reviewed and put on the market. In 2009, proposed user fees will make up more than $600 million of the FDA's budget, a 14% increase from last year. It will pay for more than half of all drug reviews.
We now find people at the FDA who refer to the drug industry as their customers.
President of the Alliance for a Stronger FDA, Steve Grossman, says some level of funding from the drug companies is necessary because the agency can't survive on the current federal budget.
The FDA needs about a $100 million increase just to about break even.
The Food and Drug Administration, I think, does a good job. You know, I've dealt with them with other things where we've applied for an investigational new drug. They're just looking out for the safety of Americans. They actually have a very tiny staff, too, and they do that with that.
Last year, pharmaceutical and biotech companies invested more than $65 billion in research and development. The industry says that's proof of its commitment to safety.
I don't think the average person has to go reading the labels on their drug products and their prescriptions. They're safe.
There's one safety issue that both the industry and activists agree needs attention: drugs made overseas. In 2007, 43% of plants were in China, but inspectors visited less than 3% of them.
The number of manufacturing sites in China is thousands. You know, it's still an uphill battle.
Bob Grosier also had a bad reaction to a class of drugs called fluoroquinolones. He runs the website fqvictims.org.
I have a place where they can submit their stories.
I want people to know that they need to be their own health advocate.
They don't want people to stop taking medicine, just start asking questions before swallowing their next pill. I'm Melissa Medley reporting.